Good morning, Kansas City. Welcome to Uncanceled on KCMO. Talk Radio 95.7 FM. I am Kevin Kietzman here over the next hour until we take it over with the Vince Show. We'll update you on everything going on in Washington, D.C. We got a bunch of local topics today, some good stuff, as I am so proud of both my alma maters today. Pete just ended with one of them, Kansas State, a complete and utter embarrassment that needs to completely retool its athletic department. They've made the right hire at football coach, but if the right people aren't there, they got trouble. That was embarrassing last night. We'll talk about that with Mark a little bit later. Also, the Missouri Tigers with a huge win. You know, they're going out and making an NCAA tournament run, and they're not getting the attention that Jerome Tang is. I guess that's the way it works in sports. In a moment, we'll focus on my other alma mater, Shawnee Mission North. Oh, I'm so proud of the Bison. Yes, I am. After they changed their name from the Indians to the Bison. I'm so proud of their sing and dance along yesterday on Johnson Drive. We'll get to that as ICE will be in focus. Sharice Davids from my congressional district had a big field day yesterday taking shots at ICE. Tom Homan had some words to say about Operation Metro Surge ending in Minneapolis. We'll start with that coming up in a few moments. In the next half hour, Mayor Q and his confidence that the Royals will be located with a new ballpark in downtown Kansas City. You heard him reiterate that with Pete Mundo earlier, and in the State of the City address, which was yesterday. Some thoughts on that. NBC. Oh, no. The worst. I mean, it's 3 weeks of Olympic coverage. They only had one job at the Olympics. One job. Do not misgender any athletes on air, and they blew it. Oh, no. They called a person who thinks he's a boy a she on the air. We'll give you the details on this one. Oh, boy, that is big, big, big trouble. And Travis Kelce speaks out on the new stadium the Chiefs will have in Kansas. We'll update you on that. We start with earlier today, I know Pete mentioned it, Tom Homan at a news conference in Minneapolis. Operation Metro Surge is ending. My favorite takeaway from this was Tom Homan saying, I have not met one county jail that does not want to work with us. There are 87 counties in the state of Minnesota, and Tom Homan saying every single one of them wants to work with us. They've made 4,000 arrests of a second crime, illegal alien, and they have found 3,364 missing kids that the Biden administration allowed in. This is stuff they don't say enough, people don't care about. It's the same thing. I don't want to sit here in some echo chamber. We know what we know, and if other people don't know it, it's on them. But them running around acting like fools and saying stupid stuff is what really bothers us, and maybe we shouldn't allow it to get to us so much. I don't really know. But Tom Homan said they're taking the surge portion out of this. They're clearly going to remain there and investigate the Somali fraud and all the things that have been going on in Minnesota. That's not changing. The FBI is not pulling out. Some ICE agents are leaving. Some Border Patrol agents are leaving. But they've locked up a lot of people. They've arrested a lot of people, okay? And for the most part, I'm just going to say this like nobody else is going to say it because I got nothing to lose, so I'm just going to say it, okay? These crazies that hate ICE that went out in the streets and want to cause trouble and stop ICE found out a few things. They found out that a lot of people they know got arrested, and it's not pretty when you get charged with a federal crime. They found that out. They also found out 2 people died doing it. And nothing's going to happen to those ICE agents if you think they committed a crime. They did not. They absolutely did not. You can't, and Tom Homan reiterated that today, you cannot put your hands on an ICE agent. You cannot attack their vehicle. You cannot drive at them. You can't do that. It's a federal crime. We will take you down and we will arrest you. And then in extenuating circumstances like hitting somebody with a car, okay, or having a loaded weapon on you, you could get shot, which occurred twice. And I don't mean to feel heartless about the 2 people that died, but I didn't go there with a gun, and I didn't go there with a car to run anybody over. Did you? I'm sorry, man. At some point, accountability matters. And what's happened in Minneapolis was they made some policy changes. They got a little softer on a few things. The people started to think, okay, our local authorities are now working with them. Tom Homan said, we now have leaders here that have decided to work with us, that your local leaders have locked up criminals and they've allowed us to have access to them now. Well, that's all they wanted from the beginning. I don't know what these people knew what they were protesting. The only thing the feds wanted was, you've got them locked up in Minnesota. They're ours. We want to take them for the federal crimes and deport them. That's our job, not yours. And they didn't want to do that. So the surge is over. It comes at an interesting time in Kansas City where there's a lot of talk about the detention facility in South Kansas City, Port KC's involvement in that, having lent the money or given the money to this facility to be built. And then they don't want to do business with this real estate company. And now the unions in Kansas City are not happy with Port KC over a lot of different things. There's a lot of entities in Kansas City that you're hearing from the first time. And it's almost like they want to spur on ICE protests. And it's working, with all places, it's working with high school kids. A friend of mine gave me a call earlier in the week and said they were so proud that their son, who goes to one of the Olathe high schools, did not take part in this walkout. They allow students to leave school and go out on the streets and make signs and be creative and do whatever because the teachers are encouraging it. That happened in Olathe, and it happened yesterday at Shawnee Mission North. These are in Sharice Davids' district. It came on the heels of Sharice Davids, the congresswoman, going public saying that an ICE facility in Kansas City would, quote, this is the best, folks. This is what I love about Democrats. They never, when you make things up all the time, you can't remember everything you made up. But that's why you have us here at KCMO Talk Radio. Sharice Davids says an ICE facility to Kansas City would drain resources from local law enforcement, unquote. She posted this. We can't have an ICE facility because somehow detaining people federally is going to drain resources from local law enforcement. This is a woman and a party that over the last decade have identified as wanting to take resources from local law enforcement. That's who and what they're about, is taking away local law enforcement and cutting resources. Mayor Q in his State of the City address says he's boosting the police budget by 5%. Now Sharice Davids is worried about, reducing resources for local law enforcement. Who are these people? They don't mean this. They're using that against Trump and ICE and the feds. That's all this is. They don't mean any of it. They're trying to make him look bad. They're trying to scare you that your community isn't going to be very safe because ICE is here. The Kansas City Star ran a piece this week. Did you see this? Pete did a great job last week on the double homicide in KCK. And if I have this right, if I make a mistake here, I'm sorry, but the synopsis of this double murder was illegal woman has an ex-boyfriend who's not supposed to be around her. He comes to her house and kills her, and another illegal man in the house kills the guy who killed her. The guy who did the first killing isn't illegal because he's got some sort of a work visa. But none of them are citizens. It's an illegal alien community, and we had a double homicide. And then the Kansas City Star comes out, and they're saying the woman died. They literally wrote a piece. They believe the woman died, not because she's an illegal alien, with a man in this country who probably shouldn't be here, who'd been picked up before. The cops here knew him. He'd been picked up before. Wasn't supposed to be around her, came after her. They are trying to blame ICE for this, saying the woman who's an illegal alien was afraid to go to ICE. Afraid to go to ICE? The local authorities knew about this guy. Afraid to go to ICE. That's the reason she's dead. Not because these three people made a terrible decision to come here, and now there's a crackdown on people here illegally. You got to go home. You haven't even seen the start of deportations yet. Wait until after the midterms. Trump has promised mass deportations, and we have every single legal right to deport anybody we want that is illegal just for being here illegally. That's the law, and nobody in this country seems to know that. And it's also a wildly popular policy with the American public. They want these people now to go home. There is a sweeping, it's growing. It doesn't feel like it every day with what the Democrats are saying, whatnot. There's a growing feeling in this country of America first, that we have done too much for Europe, too much for the world, too much for these people coming in, open borders, all these things. Too much, too much, too much. There's too much stress in my life with everything that's going on in the United States. There's financial woes. You're trying to feed your kids. You don't like your public schools anymore. You got all these things going on. And America right now is going, you know what? We really do need to think about us for a change and not other people. That's where the majority of Americans are. And the Star wants to blame ICE, that this woman was afraid to go to ICE. She was afraid to tell anybody because of ICE that she'd be detained and deported. Well, she should have thought of that before she came here. And I don't think she did anything really wrong in this situation. She certainly didn't deserve to be killed. Okay? But I'm guessing if she'd have stayed home, she'd be alive today if she'd not come here. It's not a great situation. And it should be a warning to a lot of people. And these knucklehead students at my pathetic high school, Shawnee Mission North, which was once one of the great high schools in all of Kansas City, is an absolute crap sty right now. I sat on a board there. I've mentioned this a couple times. A scholarship board for athletes for many years, and I pulled out, I quit. They wanted to change the name from Indians to Bison, and I'm like, I'm out. I'm out. First of all, you want to insult a Native American? Let's talk about the bison. Eliminating the bison population in North America is what killed the Native Americans. They literally shrunk in size and weight when we took the bison away from them. That's how they were defeated. You want to win a war? You take food away from your enemy. That's the best way to win a war. You hate colonizers that took over the Native Americans? We killed all the bison. We were a lot meaner to the bison than we were to the Native Americans. We just left them without any food. It was just despicable. And so my high school insults Native Americans by naming them the bison. It's ridiculous. And now they've got these kids out on the street out on Johnson Drive. And they're going up and down Johnson Drive and they're singing and they're chanting. They don't know what the hell they're talking about. But they did get out of school to do it. And their teachers love it. And they're pushing this crap at my high school, Shawnee Mission North. We used to sing and dance and party on Johnson Drive. I used to do that all the time. We'd crank up Van Halen, go to Godfather's Pizza. It was an awesome time, man. The cars were rolling up and down the streets. It was fun. You know what we were? We were just American kids, man, growing up, having a good time, listening to some Van Halen, not really worrying about something we don't know anything about. I was the last guy that was ever going to be in some group out picketing something that I don't understand. And trust me, those high school kids don't have any idea what they're out there talking about. I'll tell you what I'll do. At Shawnee Mission North, you tell them that I want to come to an assembly and be a guest speaker. All right? I gave the freaking commencement speech there many years ago. I came back as an honored alum and gave the commencement speech. They gave me a big painting of the high school. The principal signed it to a great alum. Thank you. Blah, 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 blah. I mean, there was a time. Now, they won't answer my phone call. If you can get me to speak to a student assembly, I will go in and blow their minds on this topic. I'll blow their minds. I'll give a speech for the ages to these high school kids. Don't listen to those teachers at that school. They're poisoning you. They got it all wrong. Man, do we got a mess in Kansas City. It feels like they just want trouble in the streets, doesn't it? Oh my God, that was so cool what happened in Minneapolis. Can we please get that here? Sharice Davids, please, let's do it over the detention center. We need rioters, we need picketers, we need agitators, we need high school kids. They'll do anything if you let them out of class. We'll just let them go out on the streets. We'll let you here in your art class make up all your little signs and go out onto Johnson Drive. But the bottom line here is these kids don't have good music to listen to, do they? They don't have Van Halen. They got nothing good going on. Maybe that's all they have is stupid video games that their minds melt down on their devices. And yes, I can get out of here and go picket on the streets at Shawnee Mission North. Unbelievable. 913-408-7957. If you'd like to join the show, I'd love to hear from you next on KCMO Talk Radio.
From Lenexa to Lee Summit, it's Kevin Kietzman, Uncanceled, on 95.7 FM KCMO Talk Radio.
Okay, we have a statement here from Platform Ventures at the I-49 Industrial Center where the ICE detention facility was rumored to be going, and they have now put out a statement to say they're not actively engaged with the U.S. government or any other prospective purchaser involving a sale of that property right now. While we typically don't comment on potential transactions, baseless speculation, inaccurate narratives, and serious threats toward our leadership, our employees, and our families have prompted us to issue this statement. You think? A bunch of thugs on the left came after these people. As we stated previously, Platform Ventures says, we were approached by a third-party private enterprise. They go on to say they eventually found out that was the U.S. government, and it no longer meets their, quote, fiduciary requirements for a timely closing, end quote. Therefore, they're moving forward, and they're not talking to anybody at this point. That doesn't mean they didn't say we're ruling this out. We're not selling it to the government. No, that is not what they said. They said they're not actively speaking to anyone right now about that for that facility off I-49. Let's go to the phones. Paul in Kansas City wants to talk about this. Hello, Paul. Welcome to the show. How are you?
Hey, Kevin. How you doing? Yeah, on Monday, Jackson County Chairman Manny Arbarca was supposed to have a public hearing on the mask and detention facility ordinances. So I drive out to Eastern Independence, go to the courthouse, go to the basement. There's 12 radicals with signs, so I know I'm in the right spot. He turns around. He's got the county executive. He's got 6 members physical, 2 remote, and he says, we're canceling it. We're going to do it 2 March.
Wow.
Said, why? He knows who I am. I mean, he knows I'm going to stand in opposition. No, he didn't cancel it because of me. I'm just saying, didn't tell the public, just said, I'm canceling it.
Good for you, Paul. You're awesome, man. That's great. Keep it
up.
up.
I'll be there too. I'll be there 2 March, Kevin. You guarantee it, because I think that's something we got to do. We got to, because there were 12 radicals there. They were ready.
Go and be heard, and don't touch a soul. Okay.
Oh no. I had my rehearsed my outline, rehearsed my briefing, fact based, ready to go. But yeah, I'm going to go do it again. But yeah, we just got to stand up and let them know, like you're doing.
Thank you, Paul. I appreciate the call. That's outstanding stuff. Let's move on to Jeff in Shawnee, talking about the Shawnee Mission North kids. Oh, what smart kids they have at this school. Hey, Jeff.
Hey, I graduated from North the same year you did. I had a son that went to school there and graduated, played sports. It was a great experience for me. It was a great experience for him. So in the last couple of years, I've been going to the local high school football games. And one thing I noticed when I go to North, I very rarely see any parents in the stands. I went to a St. James Mill Valley game. St. James came rocking out there with carrying cross on their backs. The football team did. Had a national anthem that you wouldn't believe. The place was packed on both sides with parents. The kids were the most polite kids I ever been around in my life. Then I went to the semifinals that was in Baser. And same thing. The place was packed with parents, and it was just a great vibe. And what I'm seeing in these school districts, these teachers are teaching your kids, and you parents have to be involved. And that's what I see out here. More parents are involved, and it's night and day difference.
I lost friends a few years ago because I quit that board that I sat on, and I gave them my reasoning, and then I gave them hell for changing the name. And all these people in my circle, people I've known from, were thanks for the call, they were like livid with me that I did this, turned my back on the high school. I said, no. They turned their back on me. They took down our state championship banner because it said Shawnee Mission North Indians. We won the state title in baseball. The only one they had was hanging in the rafters. They took it down because it said Shawnee Mission North Indians on it. No, they left me. They've done this. This is totally on them. Doug's in Overland Park on KCMO Talk Radio. Hi, Doug.
Hey, Kevin. I, too, grew up in the Shawnee Mission School District. I'm about 5 years younger than you. I lived over in the Shawnee Mission West area. Ended up going to St. John's Military School in high school. But, again, I was around here. I've got a 22-year-old son, an 18-year-old son. My 18-year-old is a senior at Shawnee Mission West. And you're exactly right. It's a bunch of crap. I've been having to debrief him every day after school since he was in elementary school. Sharice Davis came to Pawnee Elementary back when he was in the 3rd grade, picked him to go walk around with her, and then wouldn't even speak to him, acted like it was like some sort of just, pub stunt, and treated my son like crap when he's in the third grade, wouldn't speak to him. I tell you what, it's ridiculous. Parents have to get on it. We have to be debriefing our kids every single day. We have to be asking them what they're teaching them, what they're talking to them about, and then giving them our own values, making sure that they understand where we stand. And both my sons are conservatives today because I took the time. Parents, you've got to do it. It is on us. And Amy's exactly right. Parents, there's hardly any parents at these football games and stuff.
All right, I got to wrap you right there. We're up against the break. Great call, Doug. I love your passion. Well done with those kids. We talked about this yesterday in Olathe, this $389 million they want. We got to start telling them no. They're not. The declining enrollment is real. People are going to private schools, and that's a good thing. Uncanceled continues on KCMO Talk Radio right after the news.
Vince Colonnese here, and I'm coming up at 11 after Kevin Kietzman on 95.7 FM KCMO Talk Radio.
You know, with Platform Ventures not actively working on selling their facility to the government for an ICE detention center, it totally opens the door now for the Truman Sports Complex to be the largest ICE detention facility in America. I am all in on this. Let's go, Trump administration. Make a move. They say it's going to cost $150 million to demolish those stadiums. Jackson County doesn't have it. They don't want to do it. Take it from them. Do it. Or say, we'll demolish them, build our own facility here, and pay you a lease for the next 30 years like a team would. I think at one point the Chiefs and Royals were each paying $1 for the lease. Yeah, let's put ICE out there at the Truman Sports Complex. We can build a wall around it, a big, beautiful wall all the way around the whole thing, and use it as a detention center. It would just be spectacular. What would you do, Jackson County? Seriously, what would Jackson County do if the feds came in and said, we'll give you like $500 million for all this land, and we'll take care of demolishing your stadiums. We'll just take it over. Turn it into federal land. What would you do, Jackson County? What would you do? It would solve all your economic woes, but you'd say no. You'd rather break your taxpayers and not serve them than to do anything for Trump. That's 100% for sure. Well, we had a moment on NBC that was just spectacular in the Olympics. I'm sorry. I really don't watch and follow the Olympics. I think the side stories are more fun. You know, it's a little bit like celebrity news or something. You know, some people don't really like the real news. They just want to follow Brad Jelena or whatever. I don't even know who the popular celebrities are anymore, so I don't know. But you follow the celebrity news, right? And so that's what the Olympics has become for me. And there's nothing more than I love stories about the media or NBC, which is probably the most liberal broadcast network in America. So they're referring to female skier. This is the women's moguls skiing. Elise Lundholm is a skier in the women's moguls. Oh my God, I can't believe it. They referred to her as she. And they had to offer an apology for misgendering her. She identifies as a man. Now, she's taken no drugs yet. She's had no surgery. She hasn't done anything to physically transition yet. So clearly she's skiing and looking like a woman in the women's moguls, and they refer to her as she. Not only did they apologize for misgendering this what, man? You're gonna say it's a man in the women's moguls? I want the clarification here. You can apologize for the misgendering, but if it's not she, is it he? Is it they, them? If it's they, them, how do they, them compete in women's moguls? I don't get any of this stuff. It's all a joke. It's a complete joke. The real joke isn't that she wants to call herself a man. I'm okay with that. You do you. And if they'll let you ski and do whatever and you haven't taken the drugs and the surgeries and all that stuff, I'm okay with that. It doesn't sound like she's cheating in any way. I'm good with that. If you want to be a weirdo, just go be a weirdo. What the hell is NBC doing worrying about misgendering somebody in the women's moguls by referring to the skier as she? This is just so ridiculous. It's unbelievable. They also scrubbed the entire thing from Peacock because they play it on a delay, and then you can go back on Peacock, the streaming service, and watch. If you wanted to go back and watch the women's moguls right now on Peacock, you can't see the part where they call her she. They've scrubbed it. The Olympics, ladies and gentlemen, are edited for the Democrats. Just know that. They're editing now the content so it doesn't trigger Democrats. Boy, do I feel better about that. I also feel better about a ballpark for the Royals in downtown Kansas City. We don't know where this is, but Mayor Q sounds very confident. He had his State of the City address where he pledged an agreement with the Royals this year. He spoke with Pete Mundo earlier today. It looks like they want to have an announcement before opening day, which is next month. It's March 30th, I believe, or 29th. It's a very early start to the season. We're not far away from the start of the baseball season. So if that occurs, I was right on this one. I said when they pulled out of Overland Park at 119th and Knoll, I said, when that happened, the Royals know exactly where they want to go. The interpretation for a lot of people was, oh, they're buffoons, they're idiots, they have no idea. No, if they went to the trouble of acquiring the mortgage and doing all that work in Overland Park and they were saying, nope, this isn't going to work for us, they knew where they were going. They weren't starting over. They knew what it was they were going to do, and this is about the time we got the reports that Port KC, I mean, this is a bigger scam for taxpayers than Star Bonds. By the way, I have no problem with this. If the problem in Kansas is it's not the Chiefs, it's Star Bonds. If you don't like the Star Bonds, elect new people that don't like them. If the problem in Missouri and Kansas City is Port KC, then elect new people, okay, and elect them on getting rid of Port KC. The problem is you can't do anything with these things. Port KC, these people aren't even elected. They run this thing like the mayor's slush fund. This is much greasier than Star Bonds. But don't get me wrong. If this what gets it done for Kansas City, Missouri, and the Royals want to be downtown, I say do it. There's a lot of crap that gets money wasted on in politics locally and in our states that are way worse things than keeping the Royals and Chiefs. I have been from day one all about keeping the Royals and Chiefs, and I said from day one I would love to see the Royals in Missouri and the Chiefs in Kansas, and I think it's going to happen. And I think that's the best for our city. No matter where you live, this is going to be the best thing. Economically, for the experience of going to the games, all of these things. It's going to work. So Mayor Q made it sound like they want to have an announcement before the start of opening day, which is great. It ought to be a real shot in the arm. And then the Royals get to come in and play hero and say, see, we didn't leave. We've been committed to Missouri since day one. And before that, the Kansas City A's were committed to Kansas City from day one. Kansas City, Missouri is a baseball town. It's a historic baseball town, always will be, and we are proud to continue that tradition. I'm good with this. Now, we don't know where we're going. Most people think I'm calling it Crown Center, not Washington Square Park. Nobody knows what Washington Square Park is, okay? When I went and drove the site a couple months ago, I met with some of the architects down there. Their design looks great. It's a tight space, but it's doable. And I looked at it and I went, well, this would work for me. This is downtown baseball. It could revitalize Crown Center and all these things. But when I went and did the site, there's just a bunch of homeless people laying around. Like, it's not good. That's why I like the site. Okay? You've got a West in there. You've got Crown Center where we've had murders take place, gang murders. We had a gang murder at the Chiefs Parade at Union Station. There's a history of violence at Union Station. There's still like bullet holes on the outside of it from back in the 1940s or whatever. So it's okay. If a ballpark goes in there and cleans that up and we revitalize an area that needs some revitalization, this works. This is the way to do it. I said it. Maybe they'll even move that creepy, dangerous Ferris wheel over by there and put it near the ballpark, out beyond the outfield or something like that. I'd go for that. I'd maybe ride the creepy, dark Ferris wheel if it was by the ballpark, but not by I-35. No, thanks. Not until I know for sure that that's bulletproof glass. No chance. But if that's where the Royals go, I'm on board with it. Let's do it. Let's build it right there. If not, maybe it's the Crossroads where the vote failed before, but that doesn't mean the Royals couldn't go there now if they have the money. I hope it's not East Village, and it doesn't sound like it's Clay County. It doesn't sound like it's across the river because it's Mayor Q running around saying all these things, and I don't think he'd be saying what he's saying about downtown. I don't think you can consider across the river as truly downtown baseball. It's a stretch to say Crown Center is downtown, but I get it. It's close enough. You'll have a hotel skyscraper in the outfield. You'll have the Western Auto sign. And if you keep left field down low, you could sit on the right field side of the ballpark and see all the way to downtown. There's a lot of cool things they could do right there. We'll see what they come up with. But make no mistake about it, the Royals were the winners and the Chiefs going first. All right, after the Chiefs went, they dropped Kansas because they got a better deal in Missouri, it sounds like. We've chronicled this. If it truly is, according to reports that have been out there, $500 million from Port KC, over how much time period, I don't know. I don't know. It may be, the terms may be longer here, paid out for the construction or whatever. That would be $2 billion stadiums, $1 billion from Missouri. They'll pay 50%. Then there's some matching money, which sounds like it's Mayor Q, and his slush fund is Port KC. If that really is $500 million that they found in Kansas City, Missouri, well, Kansas City, Missouri is everything we always thought it was. They've got money to do anything we really want them to do when they cry poor until their ass is on the line, that their reputation is going to be that they lost both teams, crime went up, all this other stuff, and Mayor Q all of a sudden has this money. I don't care. Mayor Q, do this. This is awesome. You'll be remembered more for saving the Royals than for redoing the airport or bringing the World Cup or any of these things. You will. You just will. This is a big feather in your hat if you pull this off. It's also a better offer than Kansas. How many times have you heard me say these owners are about money? They love the most money. If they're promising 75% and the Kansas offer was 70%, there you go. Both teams took the best offer they had on the table. Shocker that the owners would take the most money. That's what it sounds like is going to happen to me. And I'm cool with any of these sites. I trust the Royals a lot more than other people in this town. I don't think in this day and age, there are not a lot of mistakes made on new stadiums. It doesn't happen. If you're sitting here concerned that the Chiefs are going to be a dud in Wyandotte County, don't worry about the Chiefs. This is the right move for them. Okay? And if the Royals decide it's Crown Center where they want to go, don't worry about the Royals being buffoons. They've had 4 years of due diligence, okay? They're going to get the best offer. They want to make the money around it. And I think they're looking at really cheap real estate that they can buy with their separate company that's a real estate development company. That's what that's all about. And that land around there, because there are homeless people laying around Washington Square Park and, gang shootings down in that area, that land's pretty cheap. There's a lot of stuff they'll be able to buy up, convert, do what they want with. And it should the ballpark should spur development and create a wonderful new destination and place in Kansas City that is shiny, new, revitalized, and safe. All those things. The Royals must be certain of it if that's where they're going to go. They must be certain. I don't know about the safety assurances, how you get that from Kansas City, Missouri. When you know you're in Jackson County in Kansas City, Missouri, and you know that for the entirety of the existence of your ballpark, you're going to be dealing with nothing but Democrats that don't have to beat anybody, a city council, like it's a one-party area. If they get on another one of these kicks where they want to defund the police and they don't care about anything, it could become very costly for the Royals to keep things secure and safe around their ballpark. It could. That would be the warning that I would give them, is you better watch out who you're dealing with here because they can back out of that in a hurry. And if you don't have enough police, enough lighting, enough safety, enough roads blocked, enough cameras installed, enough whatever, it's going to be really, really important, the security in that area as part of the redevelopment. But generally speaking, where things have been redeveloped, do think bad things happen? Yes, they can happen. People have taken shots at Sprint Center. They drive by. Early in the days of Sprint Center, the gang guys would drive by and shoot out the window and crack the glass up on the thing. There have been crimes that have happened around Power and Light District. Usually that has to do with a bunch of drunken crowds and things like that. What you don't want to have is just like the random gang fights outside one of your games, like happened in Crown Center, like happened at the Chiefs Parade. They got to find a way to keep things like that from happening so people feel safe if they go down there for a baseball game. I think they can do it. And I think that would be great if we revitalize that area. And I will applaud Mayor Q for being a savvy mayor if he finds $500 million in his back pocket and the Royals or the Royals move to downtown, because this should have been done 20 years ago. That's the real mistake that was made. The Royals should have gone to Kansas City, Missouri, downtown 20 years ago. But David Glass blew it. He was too cheap. He blew it. And now we're digging out of it. Way to go, Mayor Q. I'm on your side on this one. We come back. Mark Van Sickle joins us. What the heck happened? I always say I love my business because I love it when people say things. There is a basketball coach at Kansas State that said things that are absolutely fireable offenses. It happened last night. We'll check in with Mark on that and more next on KCMO.
From Overland Park to Parkville, it's Kevin Kietzman, Uncanceled, on 95.7 FM KCMO Talk Radio.
Mark joins us now. We got a couple of tasty topics here. Mark, did you see Travis Kelce's comments about the new Arrowhead Stadium?
I've not seen it yet. Was that on the podcast?
On his podcast, he said it's, quote, going to be unbelievable, unquote, and is, quote, one of the greatest opportunities you could ever get, unquote. And then he said, well, you know, it's just a business, because he was lamenting the fact that Arrowhead's historic or whatever. The discussion was about stadiums moving out of the city and into the suburbs. Jason Kelce responded, quote, if I was an owner, maybe I'd feel differently, but F that. I'm like, Arrowhead's not in the city. It's in the suburbs, too.
Yeah. I think they just like the old school nostalgia of it.
That's right. I get that part, but sounds like Kelce is on board. Last night, the Missouri Tigers got a great basketball win. At Texas A&M, they were a big underdog. A&M was ranked very high earlier this year. Mark Mitchell didn't have his biggest scoring night, but he had 8 assists, including in the final moments, a backdoor alley-oop kind of pass to Sean Phillips Jr. for the dunk that put him up by 1, 86-85. Then with 4 seconds left, A&M inbounded the ball. They went right at Phillips, whose defensive position was perfect. His arms were straight up. He never left his feet. He moved with the guy coming at him with the ball and partially blocked it and never swatted, and there was no foul called. Dennis Gates and the Missouri Tigers had brilliant coaching at the end of the game last night. There are only 3 teams in the SEC with more wins than Missouri. I am shocked. What say you about the Tigers' chances, Mark?
Big win last night. They're definitely a tournament team. I don't know how far they'll go, but they'll be in the tournament.
They're in the tournament as of right now. They got to finish strong. You know, what happens here going forward is a big deal. It was so refreshing for me to see a team play so well at the end, not with Kansas on their jersey. We know Bill Self's final minute's all really good. Jerome Tang's terrible at the final minute. Awful. And blew one last Saturday against TCU. That wasn't the case last night when he played a 500 Cincinnati team and lost by 29. The student section had bags over their heads. The place was empty. And then the coach dropped these bombs right after the game.
Hey, I'm gonna honor Christ like I always do. Blessed to do this, but this was embarrassing. These dudes do not deserve to wear this uniform. There will be very few of them in it next year. I'm embarrassed for the university. I'm embarrassed for our fans, our student section. You know, it is just ridiculous. We got practice at 6 a.m. tomorrow morning, and we will get this thing right. I have no answer and no words. So y'all got 2 questions. So whoever want to ask 2 questions, I'll answer them to the best of my ability right now. But right now, like I'm like pissed, and this is.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, Jerome Tang. Did you notice what was missing from that comment, Mark?
No accountability for himself?
Exactly. I'm embarrassed for the fans. I'm embarrassed for the schools. These players won't be here next year. They don't deserve to wear the uniform. I didn't hear him say, you know what, I kind of suck at this. I'm not very good at it. And I love my religion and my family and my faith, and I wanted to go on missions. I should just get out of this and go dedicate my life to Christ and take my money and do good in the world. And I think Jerome Tang would be awesome at that. And I would pray that he finds fulfillment in that, because this cannot be fulfilling for him. There's no way. He's not good at coaching basketball. He's just not.
And he didn't sound like he had any answers either.
No, he's not going to have any answers. And the AD that not just hired him, but re-upped him twice, and actually thought at one point that Arkansas was going to hire Jerome Tang instead of John Calipari, that's the person you should fire first, because you can't let Gene Taylor hire another coach.
Yeah, that's rough.
I say fire Taylor, put all the money toward football, let Tang coach another year, give him no money for players, and let him go at 0-32 for the year. And then maybe you can get rid of him. It'd be a little rough, but I guess we'd find a way to sit through it, wouldn't we? All right, Mark, did you know that Bobby Witt Jr. brought his dog to spring training?
I did not see that, but that sounds nice.
They've got a new puppy named Barry. He's a Bernedoodle. You can follow him, Bernedude Barry, on Instagram.
Nice.
His wife Maggie here is chronicling everything. They had him on the field yesterday. So you can go see it on Insta. It's Bernedude Barry on Instagram.
I'm going to follow him.
It's awesome. The Vince Show's coming up next.